Hey guys, so I recently just put one of these floating feeding rings in this 29 gallon here. I'm gonna tell you whether I think it was worth it, and short answer is yes. I put this one in here because as you see, I have a lot of different floating plants in this one. I've got a ton of Salvinia minima just covering the entire surface of this. And in this tank, that typically happens basically weekly. I'll have to take off a bunch of this and either sell it or throw it out as kind of that covers the top. So in this tank, I wanted to make it simple. One of the issues I was having was all of these cherry shrimp that are in here kind of take refuge up in this like under forest canopy that Salvinia minima creates. And there's actually quite a few of the kind of baby shrimp that end up in there. So a lot of the time when I was scooping out some of the Salvinia minima, even just to throw it away, then you would notice these, really tiny baby shrimp that would go scurrying and trying to find shelter, and then the guppies in here would kind of be trying to eat them up and stuff. So part of the reason why I got this was to just simplify everything with that, be able to, kind of feed in here, make it easier with getting access through the plants and everything. And it's kind of nice too because the fish have kind of learned that that's the feeding spot and they kind of go there. So it makes it a lot easier for feeding. In some of my other tanks where I just kind of have the Salvinia minima, if you throw the food in, it kind of then like scatters around and the plants start kind of dispersing and the food starts making its way in between. Because that's the other thing too, you can kind of get like fungus and things like that if you end up throwing food on top of the plants and it sits there and the condensation and everything. So this definitely has helped with that. It's a lot easier. Actually too, when I go out of town, I've had some friends come over and help feed with this tank. So with all this plant matter and stuff up here, if I have someone come over and I'm asking them to dump a little container of food into the tank, it's definitely a lot easier having that little area and I could tell them just throw it in the feeding ring. And if you have a filter, it's not gonna blow stuff around either. It kind of acts as a barrier for any flow. So if you do have a stronger filter, you're not gonna have to worry about the food getting knocked around and immediately going to the bottom. These are really affordable too. So I'm honestly probably gonna get these for one of every tank in my house. I've got about 6-7 fish tanks right now. So I'm gonna throw that in because pretty much in all my tanks, I do have some floating plants. And as you see here, this has a suction cup on here, and it's also got this little kind of like lever arm. So as you see there, this will raise and lower depending on the water level. So you can see right here, my water level is like about 1.5 inches down right now. So I do, just frequent top offs on this tank then. The plants honestly do a lot of the work in here, but I do need to top this off. But the nice thing is with this being able to adjust to the water volume, I can leave this go without having to top this off for, maybe a week or so, and then I can top this off and it'll come back up. So that's why I recommend, I actually have this, this is maybe like 1/2 inch from the actual top of the tank here. This way it can come up and it can come down, and it just gives me kind of like a greater range of motion on that. I've had a ton of aquarium products too where the suction cups kind of stink. On this one, this has stayed on here. I've not had to redo this once. So that is really nice. It's staying on there. This stays in place. You can see it's buoyant, keeps all these plants out. At the very most, they'll kind of creep onto this little edge, like right here, maybe just a bit. But otherwise, this is doing an excellent job. All the fish swarm around here when I'm ready to start feeding. So if you've seen these floating rings, they come in like circular shape, square shape, blue, black. If you want something that's a little bit more low profile, you can get a black one, and it's probably not as bright as the blue. You won't see it as much like you can see on this tank right here with that water level a little bit low, but I would highly recommend these. You can find these at all kinds of different prices. I honestly think if you get one that looks like this, they're probably all made in the same place. I'll put some of the popular links for these in the comments in the description so you can find those ones on Amazon there. But I will probably be ordering some other ones, like I said, for all my other tanks because they are just super easy to use and I think they are pretty useful. So yeah, I'd highly recommend these. Honestly, I thought I would have to keep replacing these, and I thought that the suction cups would keep giving and things like that. And honestly, this has been super solid, really great performance, and I'm really happy with it. So if you want to pick one of those up, look in the comments in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.